guys, Julian here today. I'm going to be showing you how to make modern trance, sort of like DJ Heartstring, Narcissus, X Club. This style, as usual, you can get the full project files, samples, MIDI, presets, everything from this video is available at the top of the description on my website. Definitely go grab that, it really helps support. Plus, you get a really high quality template that can take your tracks to the next level today. You know, I haven't seen anybody else on the market with this style and with a template that sounds this close. So definitely go grab that, help support. Thank you so much, guys, and let's dive in. Alright, so we're at 150 BPM, you know, a bit faster, but it creates this really nice groove. You know, there's a lot of energy here. First thing up here is actually the side layer. So it's just the kick. I just took a really short piece of it and then muted it. And then all the side chaining, we're side chaining to that instead of the kick. Which you can hear just makes the groove a little bit better. The first sound that we have here is the bass. So this is the MIDI. The bass is following this progression. We're in the key of G sharp minor. So we're going root note, minor third, sixth, and then fourth. And you're actually getting kind of a nice call and response where you go. Right? Like it's the same amount of space between the notes, if you see that. But then what's happening is this time you go up, and then you go down, right? So it's like the chord progression has a call and response in it. The other thing that you'll realize is the notes are pretty short, right? And this just makes it groove a lot better. You get that really dun-dun-dun-dun, like just short, fat bass like that. So the sound is made with two layers. So the first one is most of what you're hearing. It's made with operator, but there's no FM happening. It's a square wave layered with the saw wave, layered with this like saw 16, which is basically just like a deeper saw wave with less harmonics. And then those are just going into a low pass filter with an envelope. That's what creates the pluck. And then we're just cutting at 40 hertz to get rid of any low frequencies that you wouldn't really hear, but that can kind of get in the way of the track. Then on this layer, this is made with wavetable. You can hear it's more for like the mids and highs, and it kind of gives it a nice like texture. So what we're doing is it's this clip sweep, wavetable, and then a square wave. We have a low pass filter, and we have an envelope on the low pass. We've also got a bit of unison, and then we're just cutting out the lows. And then again, that just layers perfectly over top of that main bass. Then we have the kick. So this is this just big, fat 909 kick. This is what all of these people use to make these tracks. It's just like a really good 909, you know, there's definitely, not every 909 sample is created the same, and a lot of them are gonna, you know, you can sit there all day and do things to them, and they don't sound that good. You need to start with something like this, just a really high quality, fat 909. You can see no processing required. And then it's just nailing down that groove, like sort of the push and pull, the with the bass. Right, you need it to not just be a big huge kick and a tiny bass, and not just a big huge bass and a tiny kick, but they both need to hit equally so you really get that like that proper groove. You can hear it, that's really paramount to the whole groove working. So then after that we have the drums. So it starts up here with this little percussion groove. It's two bongos and then a cowbell. So you can hear this is actually a pretty complex groove, right? It's just these, it's kind of like you get one bongo and then the cowbell. One bongo and then the cowbell. But it's nice because all these other drums are so rapid fire. So then you just have these underneath all that, where there's like some space between them. And also the cowbells are really popular in these tracks. Right, just having that like pop in and out of the beat. Then we got this open hi-hat. So you can see it's actually two 909 style hi-hats. You can see one of them I made really short with the sustain, and that's giving you like the ch, and then one, which is giving you more of like the bright high end. Then you put them together, right, and it just sits on top of the mix really nicely. Then we have these hi-hats. So you can hear this is this little hi-hat loop made with two different operator hi-hats. So they're both made with white noise. You can see the first one's a bit of noise with a bandpass filter and a little envelope and a hard shaper. The second one's a bit of noise with a high-pass filter and a soft shaper. So you can hear you get these kind of nice like moving hi-hats because it's two different samples. And then the last drum here is this 808 clap. Just nice, punchy. You know, with these tracks, it's either like a 909 or an 808 clap, just really sitting on top of that groove properly. No processing required, just really like letting these drum machine sounds shine, but really like putting them on top of the mix. Yeah, you don't need a whole lot of processing for this style. Next up, we have this lead. So this is a really simple lead, right? You know, if we're in the key of G sharp minor, what we're doing here, it sounds very jazzy actually, because we're using the 9th, the minor 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th. And what happens is since you hear like, since you hear that resolution there, when you go back to that on the last note, it gives it like a very emotional feel. Especially over the progression. I mean, this is really like about that. And also just having this really simple lead that like isn't just always firing notes off into your face. So we got that. And that is just, you can see a square wave and a saw wave here, detuned a bit. Bunch of like a ton of unison inside of operator here, or inside of wavetable. A bit of echo, and then it's being sidechained. Then we have these keys. So you can hear what's happening with these as they're basically written so it's not just following exactly the chord progression. So what we're actually doing is this is kind of like in the key of D sharp minor, which would technically be the 5th, but then it gives us a very like you can hear like a very nice musical contrast to what's happening in the bass line and in everything else. So that's a good tip. Like if you're trying to write, you know, a lead or some keys that are gonna fit over top of something, don't just go for the same key that you're in. Try the 5th. Like if you're in G sharp minor, do D sharp minor. If you're in F, try C. You know, because you can get these really simple. I mean, it's all just like, okay, if we're actually looking at this musically, we're in D sharp minor, right? So it's like root note, 4th, 5th, 6th, another root note. You know, it's all pretty simple. It's just that interaction you're going to get with the chord progression. But the sound on this one, it's made with analog. It's 2 square waves, one's an octave and a 5th up. We've got a low pass filter, which has an LFO, key tracking, and an envelope on it. So a lot of different things moving it around. Right, that's part of this. It needs to be very dynamic, and that's coming not just from the notes, but also from what's happening with that filter. Right? We get the amp envelope like that. There's the LFO. It's pretty slow. I've got a bunch of vibrato and some unison, and we're using this delay here. You can do this like voice delay on the unison and analog. So here's by default, and then with it. It's basically like every time you play a note, it delays the second voice of unison a little. So you get this cool texture. We've got a bit of chorus and some echo, you know, just really making it sound nice and dreamy. High pass filter, and then side chaining. You see, we're not actually even doing that much side chaining. You don't need that much, but this little bit is gonna make. See, it just grooves a little bit more off of the kick if you do that. Then we have this pad. So what we're doing here is we're actually playing again with D sharp, like we're doing this D sharp minor chord, G sharp, and then another D sharp minor again. So actually pretty simple, but what we're doing is, see, it's like that high note. It's like this very like dark sounding. Right, and it just sits really nicely under the chord progression. Again, it's that like contrast of the D sharp minor over G sharp minor. This one is just a saw wave with a low pass. We've got a ton of noise unison, some echo, a high pass filter, and then it's being side chained. This one, and this is a good technique too, is like when you have these trancey tracks, you can side chain things more and put them more in the background. Like how this is not as side chained as this. So now when you hear it, you can kind of tell like one is the background and one's meant to be up front. Yeah, so that's gonna be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe, and let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get this full project file, samples, MIDI, presets, everything from this video is available at the top of the description on my website. Definitely don't miss out while it's still available. Go grab that. It's a really great way to make the best tracks of your life today. I promise you, if you grab this today, your production will forever be better. You can also get a custom tutorial lesson, ghost production, track finishing. I've got all the info for that stuff for me in the description as well. Thank you so much for the support, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.